Hello, Tennis Abides readers and viewers. This is Dan Martin, and I'm going to be doing a review of the book Playing the Moldova at Tennis by Tony Hawks. This book is basically a travel book. It's a humorous book. Tony Hawks writes humorous stories about his travels and adventures in his other works. I haven't read them, but just from looking at the back of the book and then doing a little bit of research when I got the book as a Christmas gift. He's done some wild, interesting things, and I'm not a huge reader of travel journals, but there's enough tennis in this that this certainly gave me a reason to read the book and enjoy the book. And if you're not a big tennis fan, there's enough humor and sort of cultural insights that you would get in travel journals that it might be worth your time, depending on what you do like reading. The book's premise is pretty simple. Tony Hawks and his friend were watching the Moldovan national team play soccer, and he made the point to a friend that tennis is such a skill-centered sport that even a great athlete without any skills in tennis would lose to a tennis player who knew their skill set. And Tony Hawks played tennis fairly competitively growing up, more competitively than I did. And his friend counter-argued that there are all sorts of professional athletes around the world that excel across sports. And they brought up Tim Henman's handicap in golf. We could look at Scott Draper, was a tennis player from Australia, as well as a very accomplished golfer. We just saw Marty Fish win a Pro-Am type golf tournament handily. Jim Courier was excellent at baseball. The number of tennis players that were outstanding soccer players growing up is really a long list. And so this guy argues with Tony that, like, look, a great athlete would pick up a sport faster than any normal person would, and therefore they could beat a not so great athlete who was good at tennis if given the chance. And so they make a bet, and the loser of the bet has to strip naked in a public place, or at least strip down to their underwear. I'm not sure how much they held. I won't tell you who won the bet, held each other to this. But basically, Tony Hawks then goes about traveling to Moldova as well as other locations to find the members of the Moldovan national team and play them at tennis. He has to videotape their encounters and has to keep a record as to wins and losses, and then return to England and either pay up or have his friend pay up. And so the book, it's got a funny premise. Tony, in a sense, being such an accomplished junior player himself, maybe makes the bet a little bit different than if it were somebody like me playing, like an NBA player in tennis. That could go very poorly for me, even though I have maybe more technical knowledge than a lot of NBA players would have at the pro level of basketball. Maybe some of them are really good at tennis. But basically, the story is got some really funny moments. There is enough tennis in it to keep tennis fans interested. One of the more humorous things is when he's on his way to Moldova, he has to choose between brushing up on, acquiring some basic skills in either Russian or Romanian. He picks Romanian because he says the Cyrillic alphabet would be too hard for him to learn, and having taken a semester of Russian in college, I think he maybe made a good choice. I like the Russian language a great deal, but I was not terribly good at it. So basically, he gets a book about traveling to Moldova and phrases he would need to learn. And one of the phrases was, how long has this elevator been broken? Another phrase was, do you know who this stray dog belongs to? So there was a sort of like, why would this be in the travel guide I bought to Moldova? Are there that many stray dogs, that many broken elevators, that these would be like right there with hello, thank you, goodbye, etc. in terms of basic phrases in Romanian you need in Moldova. It's set in the 1990s, so you get a pretty good insight into what post-Soviet satellite system, etc., looks like. And it's not a pretty picture in a lot of ways. The Moldova certainly had a very hard transition after the fall of the Soviet Union. And, so that's an interesting thing if you're a history person, a culture person, to get that snapshot into the post-Cold War Eastern Europe, that first decade after the fall of the Berlin Wall. Like, what is that looking like for all the different groups of people living in those parts of the world? There's a lot of love and character in the story as well. So I would say, if you're interested in geopolitics, if you're interested in travel journals, if you like humor, if you enjoy tennis writing that is enough tennis but not a ton of tennis, then I would recommend the book. If you're not interested in it, unless it's like a heavy tennis technical manual, I would not recommend the book. It's not going to teach you any new things about how to win matches, etc. And if you're not overly interested in the geopolitical angle or the human interest angle, again, I would not recommend the book. But the book is very funny. And so I think in this time with pandemics and whatnot, humor can go a long way. I know there was a YouTube version of this story made that benefited a charity that Tony is involved with, Tony Hawk's. I have not watched more than 30 seconds of the YouTube version of it, but I will link it in the story on Tennis Abides. And, like I said, it's a good read. It's a quick read. It's funny. So, I'd give it a general recommendation, but know what you're getting into. If you're not interested in certain things, then, you probably would want to pass on it for a more technical tennis book, or maybe a book that's going to help you win matches. This is more just a book that's going to make you laugh and smile. And, that's a good thing. So have a good one. Look forward to making more videos, and I'll get this lighting thing down at some point. You can see the lighting changing a little bit with the cloud cover. So using natural light didn't seem to help a ton today, but we'll get through this, and I'll figure out the best lighting for future videos. Have a good day and keep hanging in there.